We've now been stuck in our apartment for over 30 days. Hi everyone! Welcome to my channel that I haven't updated in like a year. I am back in China and I arrived here right before cities started to get shut down because of the coronavirus. So firstly, we are in Chongqing, which is in the southwest part of China. One side of Chongqing does border the Hubei province, which is where Wuhan is located, which is a name that I'm sure you're all familiar with now. We have had like nearly 600 cases, I think, and a couple deaths. My partner Danny and I both arrived in China the week of January 7th. At that time, I had heard nothing about a new virus emerging in China when I was home in Canada and he was home in the States. We had seen nothing on the news about a new virus emerging. If we had, I suspect we would have delayed our trips. January 19th was the day that we bought our first set of masks. We were then invited to a Chinese New Year celebration on January 24th with two friends of ours at their apartment, and by that time people had already started doing temperature checks. Everybody was wearing masks outside, like everybody was on high alert, so I almost didn't go, like it was pure anxiety about going there. Obviously it was fine, 30 some days later, I'm healthy, they're still healthy. It was good and I'm super happy that we went. We had a great time. And that was pretty much the last time that we left our apartment, like our gated community. So effectively it's been over 30 days stuck inside our community. So we really only leave the apartment itself to go to the main gate to pick up food delivery, water delivery, and any packages that we've ordered online. So in order to leave our apartment to go get food and water that we've ordered, we go out onto our little balcony, which connects to our front door. It's like a mudroom basically, but it's half outside, like it's not an enclosed space. So our neighbors can see us, but nevertheless we change before we go outside into basically just our underwear. Then we put on clothes that we've designated to be our outside clothes. We also put on our mask, gloves, and goggles. And then we go to the main gate because none of the delivery men are allowed to come inside the compound to drop things off. That's pretty much the whole process. We bring those back. Unless it's food and water that we need immediately, we leave the packages outside for like 48 hours because according to what we've read online, the virus actually can't survive on surface for very long. The ones that we really need to bring in immediately, Danny or I go in first and the other person stands outside in our sort of designated area with disinfectant and wipes down pretty much every single item and hands it to the person on the inside, and then it gets put away. Yeah, it's pretty time consuming. It's a little bit exhausting. We eat pretty much the same thing every day. I shouldn't say every day, but every week it's like a cycle of the same meals. At home, I'm pretty much only cooking vegetarian type dishes, so a lot of veggie curry because it's so easy to make a giant like pot of it and it stays for a long time with rice. A lot of pasta. I've become somewhat of a pro at cooking pasta. When we do want something, not those things, we order KFC or Pizza Hut because those are the two chain restaurants near us that are still operating. It's a little bit depressing to be stuck here. I went through my hard drive and realized that February last year, we actually were in Beijing at a friend's house celebrating Chinese New Year, making dumplings late at night and all those sort of traditions, watching the Chinese New Year gala on the TV, setting fireworks off in the middle of the street, even though they had already been banned. Yeah, that kind of broke our hearts a little bit. I reached out to that friend in Beijing who we stayed with and asked him, what's your experience? In terms of the Chinese New Year, he said that it's quite different. He said we didn't even visit our parents. All of our visiting plans to our grandparents, etc. were canceled. I haven't seen or heard a single firework this year. This message was sent back on January 30th, so they were still in the midst of the New Year holiday, People should have been visiting family members and they didn't because there's a breakout, an epidemic. So thinking about that sort of gets me sad, If someone was to say, You can't go see your grandparents on Christmas, and I'm there ready to go see them. You know, I think it's hard. It's a little depressing. I say it's all great, you know, I get this sort of vacation thing where I get to stay home for a month, but in reality I want nothing more than to go for a walk without a mask and say hi to everybody and, you know, eat out at a restaurant and not be afraid to go near somebody or purchase something from a street vendor or, you know. The other thing that really gets me is the people who have family who are sick, and the medical workers and their families. You know, I'm sure many of you know that some doctors have passed away in Wuhan from constant exposure and exhaustion to the virus. So to think about that is pretty heartbreaking. So, wherever you are in the world, if your country has said that you have the potential that this outbreak could hit you and spread, please stock up on all your prescription medicines, water, get some non-perishables, get disinfectant, get some gloves, some masks, some goggles. Just be prepared, because we really weren't, and we're lucky that, honestly, in a country that can still send us things that we need, you know? Because if I was home in my little town in Canada and all of a sudden Canada Post wasn't running anymore and Amazon wasn't shipping and people weren't working, and, you know, I'm not sure if I would get the necessities that I need, really. So take care of each other, and if you have any questions, I don't know how great my answers will be. I'm no expert. I'm just living day to day the best I can through this. So, but yeah, you can feel free to reach out and ask me. Anyways, bye.